Okay, today we're going to create block 11 here, and for block 11, we are going to need to use a couple of tools. One's called the Fillet tool to create these rounded surface here, and one is called the Slot tool. So let's go ahead and get started with Inventor. Uh, I'm going to make this in two separate parts. I'm going to make the bottom part first and then add this top part coming up here. So to make the bottom part, just this bottom, if I would take and cut it off right here and just create this bottom piece. If you count the blocks here, I believe it is 11 this way and it is too tall. Now sometimes when you have a rounded end like this, it to count the units and figure out where this corner is actually at, if you extend the arc out this way and extend it this way to form a corner, then you can actually see how long it is. A lot of people want to start counting from, here and try to figure out how wide it is 11 and they miscount. So anyway, we want to go ahead and start with a rectangle on the front that is 2/4 tall by 11/4 wide. So if we go to Inventor for that, click here, rectangle, and we will go 11/4 wide by 2/4 tall, or a half an inch. There we go, and finish. And now we'll want to extrude this. The length here, we're going to extrude it 1, 2, 3, 4. So make that extrude 1 inch. There we have it. So there's our bottom. And now if we click up here on the top and do a sketch, now it rolls it this way. We want to add the top part right up here, and we'll just do it in a squared off piece right now. So we need to figure out how big this top surface is. So if we extend, let's see, the easiest way to do this, well, we might just be able to extend this one straight back, and where it crosses with this one, I didn't do a very good job of that. Let's use the eraser tool here and draw that line. Let's try and draw this line again. Be a little more accurate here. It's going to form up. So there's that square. So that square looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just want to draw a 4 by 4 square, and we're going to extrude it up 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 inch cube on top of what we already have. So we're going to add that. So let's just do a rectangle, and we'll create a rectangle on here that is 1 inch by 1 inch. You'll see still one line. We already have it 1 inch this way because we locked into this corner and this line. So this is already locked, but we do need to add a dimension and make sure from here to here is exactly 1 inch. Now we're fully constrained. We'll finish the sketch and we'll extrude that up 1 inch as well, which is the default. So there we go. And now we need to add what are called fillets here. So, well, we need to add a hole through the middle, and then we need to add a fillet. Let's go ahead and add the hole first. So if you zoom into this, it looks like it's a half inch diameter hole, because from the middle out it's 1/4 of an inch. So from edge to edge it's a 1 inch diameter hole, and that 1 inch is, or I'm sorry, a half inch diameter hole located a half inch down from the top line and a half inch over. So we'll go ahead and create a circle on this point, on this surface, I mean, and we'll do a circle here. And now we want a half inch diameter circle. And now we need to locate this circle. So to locate the center point of a circle to the edge, you just click on the 2. And we want this to be 0.5 or 2/4, and we also want it 2/4 of an inch down here as well, which is 0.5. Now notice the circle is fully defined, so we went down a half an inch and over a half an inch to get this circle in the correct position. Now we go ahead and do a cut on the circle change it to a cut all the way through. Okay, now we have that. Now let's go ahead and round these off. Now you probably already know how to use the arc tool. So one way would be to draw an arc on here and just cut that off, draw it on this front face. But another thing you can use is called the fillet tool. And the fillet tool you can use either in the sketch mode or the feature mode. The feature mode means we already have an extruded feature and we just want to round off this surface and this surface at a particular radius. Now, if we go back here to the model here and we take a look, the radius of this arc right here, if we go from this center point out to the edge here, it's a 1/2 inch radius, which means it's 1 inch diameter all the way across for this arc. But we want to make a fillet at a 1/2 inch. So watch how this works. So we're going to change the radius to 0.5. 0.5. And now all you have to do is click on the corners that you want to round over at that 0.5 radius and apply, and now you have it. So we can take a look at the front, and so this is perfectly rounded over. So again, we could have created this arc on this front view here and then cut through, but the fillet probably a little bit easier for you to do, and you would do the same to round the front end of this over. Let's go ahead and look at the slot now, because if we go back, we need to create a slot right here, and the center points, the 2 center points, we'll have to position those. And let's just figure out some things. The arc, the radius of this arc here is 1/4 of an inch. From here to here is 1/4. And it looks like this center point is a 1/2 inch in from the end. And this center point is a 1/2 inch in from the edge as well. So let's go ahead and create an arc, or let's create the slot first. So the slot has 1/4 inch radius, and from here to here is 1, 2, 3/4 of an inch long. So let's go ahead and create the slot, it's called, and so you will find the slot tool under sketch. So we're going to start a sketch, and the slot tool is under the rectangle tool. And I think there's several different ways you can create the slot. I think we want to go from center to center for ours. And so I'm just going to click at random here and go over, and we need to figure out how far to go over, and it was 3/4 of an inch, so 3/4. That's the distance between the 2 center points. And now to define the radius, you just slide your mouse out to define the radius, how big you want this. Well, if you'll remember, that slot was a 1/4 of an inch radius, and actually it's wanting the diameter from here all the way down to here. So this distance, so a 1/4 of an inch to here, and then a 1/4 more would be a 1/2 inch, so it's 0.5. So there is our slot. Now we need to get it in the correct location. So if you'll remember, we could do that by center point from there to there. We want that to be a 1/2, and also from here to here, we want this to be a 1/2 also, I believe. And now it's fully defined. I just got those 2 measurements. From here to here is a 1/2, and from here to here is a 1/2. So I just located this center point at the correct location. And when we created the arc, we created it with 3/4 of an inch between the 2 points, and we created it with a 1/2 inch diameter. So now it's easy. You just finish the sketch, and we extrude that arc through. So we want to pick in there. We don't want to extrude up. We want to do a cut. And I always just change this to all. And there you have it. Now you need to round off these 2 corners using the fillet tool. But that's how you use the fillet tool and the slot tool.